Here are my 5 tips for flute players. Tip number 1, it is important to develop good posture while playing the flute. You want to make sure that you're sitting up straight and your shoulders relaxed. You don't want them to be tense like this, nice and relaxed. And you want your head to be looking forward. This will ensure that there's good airflow and it prevents any sort of tension. Because if there's tension in your body, there's going to be tension in your sound. Number 2, you want to master the flute embouchure. I teach my flute players to hold their head joint like a pencil in their right hand. When I first started playing the flute, it took me so long to get a good sound on it. If I had known these tips sooner, I think I would have gotten a better sound on the flute way faster than it took me. You want to make sure that your lips are nice and relaxed when you play the flute. It's almost like we're pouting. You want to say the syllable poo, like Winnie the Pooh. You're going to create a small oval with your mouth called your aperture. Then you're going to want to set the bottom part of your lip on the bottom part of the tone hole here, just like this. You're going to feel it with your lip. Then you're going to pout and say poo. At the beginning, it might be a small sound. If you don't get that sound, you might want to move your mouth around on the lip plate to try to get a better sound. See how it's a little too far over there? You want to find the sweet spot. Oftentimes, I teach kids to kiss the middle and roll down. Most of the time, that finds the perfect spot. Now, practicing this over and over and over again will help you master the flute embouchure. Number 3, use correct fingerings. The flute has so many keys on it, and it's really easy for beginners to get their fingers shifted around on the wrong keys. You could be making the perfect embouchure with the perfect amount of air, but if your fingers aren't on the right keys, you aren't going to get a good sound. Make sure you use a fingering chart in order to know exactly where their fingers go. Keep your fingers curved on the keys and not flat-fingered so that you can go quickly back and forth between notes. Your right thumb should sit in between your first and second finger, right here. Once you sit and hold your fingers on the flute over and over again, you'll get it. I like to have my students take their fingers off and then put them back on to see if they can find exactly where it goes. And doing that over and over again helps them master exactly where their fingers are going to go. I also put little dots of fingernail polish on the flute sometimes in order to help them remember where their fingers go. You can also put stickers on there too. Number 4, practice good breath control. The flute is a wind instrument, therefore it takes wind, so you need a lot of it to get a good sound. You need to make sure you're taking deep belly breaths from down here in your belly. I tell all my wind students that they need to pretend like they're falling asleep when they're playing their instrument. Then they're going to simulate their bellies going up and down. Sometimes we lie on the ground and we watch our bellies go up and down. We take nice, deep, relaxing breaths. Then we come back to our seats. We put our hands on our bellies and we take those deep breaths. And then they realize that that's the kind of air they're going to need. When they go to play, they take a deep breath and then they focus all their air in one spot. At the beginning, flute players are not going to get a sound that long. Your sound might only last this long. And that's okay. You're going to get better at it. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Another trick I use for my flute students when it comes to air is if they're holding the flute correctly, they're going to want to aim their air at their elbow. All my air is going from here to here. If I aim my air anywhere else, I could get a weird sound. Here I'm going to blow my air up. Here I'm going to blow my air to the sides. You want to aim your air at your elbow. When you're practicing your breath control, you want to play notes called long tones. That's where you hold a note out for as long as you can. And for flute players, it might not be that long. Just know that you're going to be able to hold that note longer each and every time you practice. Number 5, focus on intonation and tone quality. You can do this without playing the flute at all. You can listen to other flute players, especially good ones. Find some good recordings of great flute players and then try to imitate their sound. You might not be able to play what they can play, but you can imitate the sounds that they're creating. Listen closely to your sound. Practice with a tuner. Experiment with small adjustments in your embouchure and your airspeed to find out what works for you. Every instrument is a little bit different, and every human is definitely different. So it's going to be different for everybody. Thanks for watching, and leave your questions down below.